Football is fueled by dreams. To go further, get there faster. Those wins don't just happen.
They must be claimed. Work for today, achieved together. The XFL is where the full potential of football is realized, both on and off the field.
Give cities new reasons to cheer, partners new platforms to build on, people a deeper sense of fandom,
And athletes a new path to live their passion and play professional football. This is tomorrow's league.
driven by a new purpose and a shared commitment. Powered by new leadership, this is for all of us, and the only way to get there is together.
To change how football is experienced, where passion meets a field of possibility.
Tomorrow's league starts today.
Welcome to the XFL.
And welcome to the EndZone. Y'all let me know down below if y'all can hear me loud and clear. Start posting your questions down below because we have so much to talk about. Not only is the USFL in full stride with good numbers on TV and good play, all the games, extremely tight and extremely fun. And it looks like the playoff picture, by the way, for the USFL is starting to solidify itself. We're having all the teams really put their order in. It's most likely at this point going to be Birmingham, New Orleans from the South, and then New Jersey and Philly. Philly had a nice win last weekend. And then we also have the XFL news coming. So if you didn't know already, and I'll be posting more content later this week, I didn't want to post all the XFL news today because I wanted y'all to get the USFL stuff because we had the USFL rankings come out today, and I wanted y'all to see that. I didn't want to put too much out in one day. So I want y'all to have content constantly coming throughout the week so y'all are entertained, so we don't run out of things to talk about. But as y'all probably have heard, the XFL is supposed to release their team identities, so branding, logos, all of that, June 1st. So including the cities, which means I'm going to talk real quick about what cities I think will be included. And I'm going to do a video because a lot more people are going to watch the video than the live stream. But quickly, it's going to be, for me, St. Louis, Seattle, Houston, Dallas, I think that puts us at 4, DC, 5, Tampa, relocating to Orlando, San Antonio, and then Las Vegas. That should put us at 8 teams, but my confidence meter on that is pretty high. I would say that the city I'm least confident in would be Vegas, but we'll see what happens. And there are even some other things that have come out about the XFL, like what head coaches will probably be where. Now, we already know that Terrell Buckley is probably going to be in Orlando. We had some other leaks of other coaches. Bob Stoops, you would guess, would be going to Dallas. A lot of people think that Wade Phillips will be in Houston. There are just a lot of rumors here. And then we also saw that June Jones posted on his Twitter bio that he was the offensive coordinator for the Seattle team and that his head coach would be Jim Haslett. So unless something has changed there, those are pretty solid, not just evidences, all pointing toward some great XFL news. So again, I'll be posting that. I want to see who y'all think will get XFL cities. And if you think a lot of the identities will stay the same, we do know that DC might be changing their identity. It looks like the Battlehawks are going to stay the Battlehawks. Will they have the same logo and everything like that? We'll still have to find out. We know that there will not be a team in New York, or that's what a lot of people are thinking, which I feel is definitely you got a lot of people on both sides of that wanting a team in New York or not. So I'm going to go ahead and start on these questions. It's 6:04 right now. We're going until 6:30. 30. Our first question, do you think it's a good idea for the USFL to host the championship in Canton? Well, I would say that it's not the greatest idea, but it's the best that they could do considering they cannot have the games in Birmingham because the World Games have already been scheduled to be played in Birmingham and they're already have rented out the protective stadium. So I feel Canton, Ohio is a good place to have it. It would have been cool if maybe they did it in like a home city of a team. Would have been interesting. I don't know if they could have gotten that done. But I think that having the championship in a historic place like Canton, Ohio, with the Hall of Fame is not a bad move by any point. If the XFL does go into Birmingham, where would the team play at from Clyde? Well, it doesn't look like XFL will have a team in Birmingham. I think that there's too much competition right now with the USFL most likely having their headquarters as well continued in Birmingham. It would be really tough, but Protective Stadium would be that place. Yes, I think that is 8. If not Vegas, then San Diego. One would think San Diego, Oakland, one of the cities that's deprived of football. I'm not sure if I'm a super fan of having a team in Las Vegas. Where would they play? I need to do more research on that. It would be weird playing in that big old Raiders stadium. It would be cool, but you just worry about filling it up and selling tickets. And is Las Vegas really a sustainable place to have a spring football team? Are they that hungry for football? You don't know. You do know that San Diego 100% would be. We saw with the Alliance of American Football, they showed out pretty well, and the AAF wasn't really known for the greatest marketing or getting a lot of people out to games. And I would want San Diego, but all the rumors are pointing towards Las Vegas. So what about the New York Guardians? Well, we don't know if we're going to get the New York Guardians. It doesn't seem likely. It looks like the New York Guardians will not be in the newest version of the XFL. That's not to say that if they decide to expand, I would think that New York would be one of the number one cities for them to go to, but they got to get through this first iteration before they start thinking about expanding. And I know a lot of people could be disappointed, but that y'all will have the New Jersey Generals, and it's likely they'll be playing pretty close by. If the New York Guardians do return, we'll likely see them in a new stadium, probably MLS sized. All right, scrolling through, got to update some of these questions. Do you think the USFL should make their teams play in their home markets or use the hub again for year 2? So I've been reading some articles regarding this, and some USFL people have talked about it. They really don't have a definitive answer as of yet. I would say they really need to move into their home markets. I don't know that the USFL is sustainable. Can they sustain this amount of fans and viewership in year 2 in one hub city or even possibly 2 hub cities? It's just, it feels cheap to a lot of fans, but you have to understand that they're playing the slow route. They may go 2 hub cities next year and slowly expand. I know that they want to sell franchises. We'll have to see. Maybe it's only a couple of teams are in their cities because the franchises are sold. Again, it's all up to the USFL, the business people running the numbers. I'm sure they have a lot of accountants and probably people trying to predict how much money they could make next year if they stayed in that hub model. It's likely, though, from what I think, that we could see possibly 2 hubs, kind of like we saw in the Spring League where they did 2 hubs. I'd love to see, though, the home markets. I think that's what we all want to see, and that's what we should get. What do you think about the XFL having 3 teams in Texas? Too much. So that's a layered question. I don't love having all the teams in Texas, but I understand it. I think that it will make for better TV, as in there will be a lot of fans in each stadium, especially in San Antonio. I think that they'll do a better job in Dallas as well as Houston. They seem to show out last XFL iteration. One interesting thing is that the XFL is rumored, still not confirmed, and we'll probably get this on June 1st, that the XFL will have a hub model where all the teams practice and house in one place. Then they would travel to their city destinations for each game. So even though they're the St. Louis Battlehawks, they'll live in Dallas, Texas, in that hub. That would also save the XFL a lot of money if there were 3 Texas teams. I think that Texas is really kind of that football capital of the world, whether you like it or not. It's just different over there. And I'm interested to see, though, how that could affect some of the Texas teams. Like, at what point do Texans just say, hey, we don't want any more football? I think it helps that they have a head start in Houston over the Houston Gamblers. If the USFL is playing later in the year, people may not want to see the Houston Gamblers because they already got the Houston Roughnecks in the XFL, and that could be strategic. And we still don't know if there will 100% definitely be a Houston team. It's almost confirmed that we'll have at least 2 Texas teams. Maybe we just have 2 Texas teams, and the rumored Houston team is somewhere out west, or it could be in New York. We still have to see, but it's trending in that 3 teams in Texas direction. I really want Hawaii to get a team, but it's very unlikely. So California in the XFL or the USFL, either way, Hawaii is a long shot. One, because it's just extremely expensive to travel, unfortunately. You know, they're on an island over there. I believe Hawaii in college football, they definitely travel the most, but they also pay the most because of those travels cost. California, I it's going to be weird. Are we going to get a team in California in the XFL? It almost doesn't seem right that a state that big does not get a professional football team, but you wouldn't want it in Los Angeles. You would want it in San Diego, I think. That's just my opinion, though. And I'd love to know if you have an opinion, Gollum64, on what city you would like a team in California. Who do you believe was the best QB steal of the USFL draft based on performance? I would say DeAndre Johnson because he wasn't drafted in the first round, and he's been arguably the best quarterback in the United States Football League. I would have to go with DeAndre Johnson. You could argue Jamar Smith. I wouldn't say Kyle Sloter because I wouldn't. Maybe was he a steal because he fell down, but he was also drafted in that first quarterback round, so you kind of expected him to be there. Luis Perez, I believe he should have been drafted, and he's pretty much showing that based off what he's done in the USFL. Shea Patterson hasn't really been what a lot of people thought he would be. Jordan Te'amu's been very solid. He's been at the expectation. He's had a couple of games where he's exceeded those, but I don't know if I would call him a steal because he was also one of the top picks. So yeah, I'd probably go Jamar Smith or DeAndre Johnson. And if I had to pick one, I'd say DeAndre Johnson because of how well he has played and especially grown as a quarterback. He went from being the guy who they're kind of afraid and timid to throw a pass with to him throwing touchdown passes and using his legs and being an integral part of that offense. Are you going to do a review on the USFL game ball now that you can buy one? Well, the XFL gave me a ball last time I did a review. I guess I could. I'd have to see how expensive. If somebody could look up and comment how expensive they are, and I'll get back to this question because I really haven't even checked the price on the USFL ball. All right, sorry, the questions just updated. So I'm going to have to scroll all the way back up to catch up. What about the stadium the Las Vegas Outlaws played in the XFL? So I believe that was UNLV's stadium. If I'm correct, I might be wrong on that. You know what? I'm going to look it up real quick. I'm going to cheat. So Las Vegas Outlaws Stadium. I believe it was UNLV's. Sam Boyd Stadium. All right. Give me 1 second. Sam Boyd Stadium. Yep, it's in Whitney, Nevada. How many does it seat? 40,000. So that's a pretty decently sized stadium. And I guess that would be the place. Obviously, I've never been to Vegas, so I don't know how far away it is from the city, if it's really close. If anybody knows, I'm definitely going to do more research when I do the video. Jared, please USFL stay in the hub, and the XFL will take over all the fans away from you. Haha. Yeah, I guess that's part of the pressure, though. I mean, I know it's kind of a funny comment, but it's true. There is now pressure on the USFL because if the XFL is in cities and successful in 1 year, then people will start questioning the United States Football League. So we'll see. My prediction for new XFL teams. So St. Louis Battlehawks, Houston Wranglers, Orlando Hurricanes. I like that one. Seattle Dragons, DC Galaxy, San Antonio Warriors, Las Vegas. Ooh, love the Las Vegas Wizards name. Dallas Outlaws. Love all of it. I really like the Wizards. I know that there's an NBA team, but I think that sounds good. I'm a Michigan Panthers fan, for example. I get to see my local team in season 3 or 4 of the USFL. Yes. Hopefully, that's the plan. The Bighorns of San Antonio. Love it. Clarence. Y'all got some good names. Maybe the XFL should hire y'all. It's probably too late, though. They probably already got the names. Hopefully, they already have the names. How are you doing today, EndZone? I've been doing great. Worked out. Got some work done. Will the Extreme Football League be getting a team in Detroit? Doesn't look like it. But the USFL could have a team in Detroit, Michigan Panthers. I think that's what a lot of people think that city will be. Would you like to see USFL team there, or would you rather have XFL? Do you think the playoff picture for the USFL will stay the same? I do. We still have, so when you look at the schedule, there are a couple key matchups upcoming, and with the standings, it's still close. So the Panthers have the ability, theoretically, to make it into the North playoffs. I don't think they'll be able to catch up with the Generals, who are 3-0 in the division. The Stars are 2-1, and the Panthers are 1-2. So that number 2 spot isn't necessarily a foregone conclusion, but just by the way the teams are playing and just the way the season has gone, I can't believe that like the Panthers would all of a sudden just turn everything around and overtake the Stars. Now the South, is different discussion because we know the Stallions, they're pretty solidified 3-0. Breakers 2-1. The Bandits are 1-2. And I know that they're coming off of a loss, but the rest of the season, I believe everyone will play each other pretty much again after week 6. So this week 7 upcoming is all out of division play. So these games don't really matter as much other than just getting teams into a groove. But like in week 8, the Panthers, they're going to play the Stars. So if the Panthers don't win that game, they're pretty much done. The Bandits in week 8 have a nice opportunity playing the 1-5 Gamblers. So they could get another win under their belt. And maybe the New Orleans loses again to the Stallions. And all of a sudden, they're pretty much tied even and neck at their own division. And in week 9, the Bandits play the Breakers. So we'll pretty much quickly find out what all these teams have to offer. I think that really it's up to the Bandits. If you want to see the playoff picture change, you need the Bandits to start winning some. I worry some people get tired of watching spring football because one of my friends is tired of watching the USFL, and I asked him why. They said all 8 teams playing in the same stadium. So that would be for the USFL, but the XFL would be in different venues. So that would kind of change it. But I understand your friend's worries and concern about teams playing in the same stadium. It's not for everyone. It is not. It takes a diehard football fan to not have that football environment and just love the game. It's different. All right, I'm looking through. Okay, so San Diego. So you would agree with me there. Just addressing, we asked what city would you like to have for an XFL team in California. Turns out my Generals keeping Perez was a good idea after all. Yes, I was totally wrong on that. Where the EndZone was wrong, trading away Luis Perez. But you do hope DeAndre Johnson is okay. Maybe they try to get a couple more wins and rest him for the playoffs. Should the XFL use smaller stadiums? 100%. MLS size stadiums are the move. I think that those would be the best scenarios, or small football stadiums like Protective Stadium in Birmingham. I know it's not going to be an XFL stadium, but it's good size, 30,000. That's realistic, and looks good on TV, and you can sell tickets. Omaha, Orlando, Sacramento, San Diego. I always thought that Sacramento would have been a pretty solid place. $140, $150. Whew. That's a lot of money. I'll think about getting a USFL football. Y'all comment down below if y'all would like a USFL football review. I could definitely do it, but $150. I don't really make much money on YouTube, so that'd be a lot of videos. Thoughts on a DC team name for the XFL since they won't be using the Defenders? That one's tough. I haven't really been to DC, so I don't really know what it's like. I assume they're going to go with something patriotic just because. It'd be hilarious. And I think that they should do this. Do y'all remember when the Washington Redskins were changing their name to the Washington Football Team, and then the Washington Football Team was rumored to change their name to, oh gosh, what was it? Like, was it the Red Wolves? Like, that'd be funny if they took some of the rumored Washington football, eventually Washington Commanders names that like more fans wanted than the Commanders. I think that would be hilarious if they were the Red Tails. And that's a pretty cool one. Red Tails. I think they have a really good movie about the Tuskegee Airmen. So I would go the DC Red Tails, something like that. Do you think the XFL will hurt the USFL's viewership because people might get tired from watching spring football? Yeah, I brought up that point that they're going to have that critical head start. It could be pretty tough for the USFL to differentiate themselves in the market, especially in Houston. Which West Coast team should I go to if the LA Wildcats move? Probably Seattle, unless you like Vegas more. The one that you could go to, I would say. What was the USFL TV ratings this past weekend? Great question, Gregory. They were much better than last week. They were up in the millions. So I know that Birmingham, I don't have the official number, but it was like 1.2 to 1.3 ish. And they scored really well. Shouldn't the XFL and USFL just merge? Wouldn't that just be one best for spring football succeed? In a perfect world, that would be awesome. But you got a lot of different people wanting different things. And, got a lot of big heads on both sides. And then you have the problem with, Fox and NBC own one league, and then ESPN and Disney, they don't own the XFL, but they really want to work with them. They'd have to have a mediator for that. Maybe I could be the mediator. Try to get everybody thinking on the same wavelengths. Will the Washington Wizards sue the Las Vegas Wizards? I don't think that they would, because there are a lot of teams that have the same names, especially because they're in different sports. I don't think it would be a problem. And unless they ripped off their logo, of course, and colors. They would have to be creative with the Wizards. But I assume Vegas is it has to be something with well, they're not going to be the Gamblers, but something Vegas-y. Offensive and defensive MVPs. Defensive, I love watching Will Likely. I feel like that could be the mainstream answer, or Scooby Wright. Offensive, I won't go mainstream here. I know a lot of people are going to say Kyle Sloter, but how about as of late, Kevontae Turpin, how he's been playing? I also love Mark Thompson. There are just too many names out there. But yeah, I don't want to go with quarterback also, because the quarterback play is hasn't been super consistent as we go through midweek. But then again, Kevontae Turpin hasn't really broken out, but it's just what he can do has been super awesome. I want the Stars to do well because of the Blob mascot. Love that. I think Baltimore could get a team. It would be tough. It seems more like the USFL is willing to go into NFL markets, excuse me. A little hiccup there. So USFL probably more likely. Getting greedy wants an XFL and a USFL team. The Hunted. I won't answer that question, but feel free, y'all, answer that question. That's funny. Don't buy USFL football. Sorry, pass. Yeah, it would be an investment. It's quite expensive. Why is Washington changing their name? Or DC? I don't know. Maybe they have something better that they just want to do. It's likely we'll see a couple name changes. Orlando Apollo's XFL? I wish. That would be awesome. Do you think XFL teams will change team colors? We possibly could see that with the Roughnecks, and I think we'll get the Battlehawks will probably stay the same. I think we'll just have a couple of updates, but not. I think there will be a couple teams that'll be drastic, but then a couple teams will be pretty much the same. I like the USFL, but compared to the AAF, a little lacking. Yeah, I feel like the USFL and AAF pretty kind of neck and neck. The AAF struggled a lot play-wise, especially when compared to the XFL. What do you think of better quality, more entertaining football. The XFL has the opportunity to have better quality football because they can pay more. I think that the USFL has more entertaining football because all the players are in a bubble. They don't have to travel. And I think that's one of the main reasons why they're having such close games. All right, so we addressed the cities up below, but I'm going to go over them real quick. It's already 6:29, so St. Louis, Houston, Seattle, Dallas, Orlando, San Antonio, Vegas. All right. We are going through the last bit of our questions as it is 6:30 and I'm going to have to hop off. I actually don't see. Yeah, so Mike G, 1.37 million. So that goes up and answers the question. But yeah, it was much the moral of the story is it's much better than what it was. All right, here is our and then Mike G, the 1.1, so Tampa, Philadelphia, which I thought was pretty surprising. But that was a really good game. So all right. Here is our final question that I see. If y'all have any questions, type them down below last minute as it is 6:30. Didn't the XFL buy the rights to the AAF copyrights? No, I don't think anyone has the Alliance of American Football copyrights, but Major League Football did purchase all of their gear, their equipment, their warehouse. The XFL was actually trying to buy that warehouse. Some insider information right there. They were trying to buy it. A lot of people were trying to buy it, but Major League Football came in and swooped, got it. I'm seeing a lot of hate. This is our last question for the XFL Disney deal. Yeah, but, everybody's going to have a problem with everything. You can't make everyone happy. Some people don't love Disney and ESPN. I, for one, miss how ESPN used to be back when I was a kid. They kind of changed. They fired a lot of the people who I used to like. But with that being said, you can't deny that Disney is huge. ESPN is still huge. They are still the flagship sports program on TV. And the XFL combining with them is huge. So there's no denying that. All right, everybody. I enjoyed having y'all on. We had a lot of people on tonight, too. But if you're out there, make sure y'all are moving the chains. I'll see y'all next Monday, every single Monday on the End Zone, live from 6 to 6:30, answering questions, having fun, talking football. Y'all have a good one. Make sure to move the chains.